Hello and welcome to the Valley. Today I am your host, Janet Michael. Special treat today for everyone who's listening. I'm sitting in the lobby at Winchester Little Theater in Old Town Winchester. So very excited to introduce you to the cast, some of the cast today of A Christmas Carol. They're going to be performing here, kicking off on November 7th. Tim Bambera is here with us. Thank you for reaching out to me and saying, hey, can we get on a show? This is like one of my dream shows. So I appreciate that you didn't even know that and reached out anyway.
That's amazing. Thank you for coming. I've been listening to the show for a while and I wanted to try to get the theater on the program. This is a really great opportunity and I'm really thankful for Sara and Rob and John for being here to talk about the show. This is a special show to me. I was in the production we did 3 years ago. It was my first show in Winchester when I moved to town. I got to know all these amazing people, and that kind of was my introduction into the theater here. So it's a really special show. I'm really glad that Sara's remounting it, and very exciting to have you here.
And you do several productions throughout your season, right?
Yeah, absolutely. We have 5 main stage shows that we produce, and then we have 2 kids shows through our WLT for Kids programs. For every main stage show that we have, we also, the final Sunday, we also have what's called a Reader's Theater production, where people get together and they'll read a script and perform that as well. We got a lot going on.
And for such a small theater, you guys pack people in here, and a lot of your shows sell out.
Yeah, the last one, we had to add an extra performance. This one, Sara had the insight to add a lot of extra performances before we got going, because when we originally did it, we had to add, I think we had to at least add 2, right, if I remember right, 2 Sundays or 2 Saturday matinees.
Yeah,
so.
And we had extended the run then.
Yeah, so.
By 1 week,
Yeah, we're trying to give the audiences as many opportunities as they can to get out here and see this production. We anticipate it selling out. If you're listening to this, go buy your tickets now.
I will say, so we're sitting here recording on the 15th of October, and I checked the website before I headed over here. Mm-hmm. There are some days that are already completely sold out.
Yep.
The thing that I love about your website, too, is that it will tell me if there is 1 ticket left or 6 tickets left.
Yep.
So I really appreciate that, because I'm like, okay, well, I can't get tickets for this night unless I leave the husband at home. So people really should go check it out, because it is highly likely, I think, to sell out.
Yeah, and it's assigned seating too, so if you have a group that you want to bring around Thanksgiving, you can go out in there and buy your tickets out right now. But definitely get on there sooner than later, because it will sell out.
So Sara Gomez is joining us as well. You are directing A Christmas Carol. Have you directed other productions here at Winchester Little Theater before?
Yes, over 40.
Oh my goodness, so you've got this down to a science.
Well, yes and no. It's a large-scale musical, which is a challenge to mount on a stage our size in this intimate theater. But it was well worth the effort. We've done quite a few musicals over the years, and this is probably the largest cast that we've had, or one of. And unlike 3 years ago, when we produced it for the first time, we have increased the number of kids in the show because of the grueling schedule. So we've double cast the kids so they can alternate and still have an opportunity to be a part of the cast.
Winchester Little Theater offers productions of things that a lot of us have heard of. A Christmas Carol is a perfect example. I was telling you earlier before we started recording that I saw Steel Magnolias here. Is it more difficult to direct something that is so widely known versus something that maybe somebody hadn't heard of before?
Actually, this is an adaptation that in this area had never been seen before, because it was a commission piece by a university. 2 of our members had attended Bob Jones University. So they had been a part of this original production. It was commissioned by the university with a new adaptation and all original music. So this is a treat. I had not heard this music before, and it's beautiful.
How many rehearsals? How far in advance do you prep for a production? Does it vary depending on what it is?
Generally, we have a real tight calendar here because the number of productions we do every year, 5 main stage shows, plus our 2 full productions for the WLT for Kids program in the summer. Shows have a 6-week production period. One of the shows in our season usually has a 5-week production period. Just the way the calendar, we have to work around apple blossom and whatnot. So we are within the 6-week production period, and that includes our rehearsals, our tech week, our final dress rehearsals before we open.
So sitting with us as well here in the lobby is Robert Delancey. A few of you may know him as Scrooge. Have you been Scrooge before? Is this your first opportunity? Give me some background.
No, I was the original Scrooge in the production we did 3 years ago, so I'm reprising that role. I'm very blessed to do so. It is the fourth show that I've done here at Winchester Little Theater now, if you include the previous, so it's been great to be here.
Will you change it up at all? I mean, so many of us have this image. We've seen the movies, we've maybe seen a live production and think we know who Scrooge is. Is that the Scrooge we're going to see when we come to see the production here at Winchester Little Theater?
It's similar, yeah. I think I do have my own twist on it that I put, but it's such a classic character, you can't really go too far off script of what is classic. But yeah, I have my own personal twists and quirks that I do. It'll be roughly the same from what I did 3 years ago, but there's always room for improvement.
How do you prepare? Do you walk around your house practicing lines?
There is a lot of that. For learning the lines, I tend to pace a lot. I'll either go outside, or my house has a circular floor plan, so I'll just walk around in circles and go over the lines that way.
Joining us as well is Bob Cratchit, also known as Jonathan Ryall. So have you done Bob Cratchit before? Give us some of your history.
Yeah, this is my 8th show with WLT. I liked him. My first show here was Christmas Carol 3 years ago, where I played Bob Cratchit. So I'm also reprising my role there. It's a lot of fun to be back on stage with Robert.
What do you like about live theater, particularly local live theater like what you have here?
Everything. I had done theater in high school, then stopped for decades, and then came back and auditioned for Christmas Carol and got in and have been here ever since. And you forget how fun it is to act in a live space, especially at a theater like this where the audience is right on top of you. Mm-hmm. It's like Sarah said, it's a very intimate space.
They're practically part of the show.
And sometimes they are part of the show. We've done shows where we pull audience members on. This is not this show, but we've done shows where we actually will pull audience members on stage, interact with them. It's a very fun place to be, and you can come see the same show 20 times and you're not going to see the exact same show. I think that's part of the charm of it.
The space also necessitates us paying attention to details because the audience is right there. When we have period costumes, we have another building that we own that is full of props and furniture, donations over the past 95 years.
Oh my gosh.
And about 3,800 square feet of costuming. So we have period costuming that we use in our shows that we've created, and we pay attention to details with things like not using zippers in a period show where they only had hooks and eyes.
And that makes it complicated. And I don't think sometimes people that are coming to see a production like that truly appreciate it until they realize, oh my gosh, look at all of the things that they had to do to make me feel like I am really in whatever it is the production is that they're seeing. Mm-hmm. So I think that's fantastic. So, Tim, you're not in this production, but you were in the production 3 years ago, or do I have that wrong?
No, that's correct. My wife and I had a baby this summer, so I'm sidelined right now, but I'm serving on the board right now as the director of publicity. One of my first things I wanted to try to do, because I listen to your show often, I wanted to see if we could reach out. Unfortunately, another one of our board members, Pam Lamb, was able to get the
yes.
connection. So that was
it's
really
that
cool.
United Way connection that everybody loves. So what do you love about being part of a production when you're active in here?
Like John said, everything. It's amazing. It's super fun to act in this space because the audience is right there, right? But also, as Sarah was talking about with the details to the costumes, you got to really be on your game as an actor, too. You got to really let go of all the things that are in your head and pay attention to what your other actors are doing. And one of the shows I really loved doing here a couple years ago was Rumors. John was in that one. And, I mean, something would go wrong every night, right? But, like, you would...
The joys of life.
Yeah.
It is, exactly.
But you might not know that because we're just up there reacting and playing along. When you get to do that kind of work in a space like this, it's that intimate. It's also that other character in the play, which is the audience, right? You get to pull them, like John was talking about, you get to pull them into the show. Sometimes literally. But yeah, it's just it's an amazing theater. And one of the other reasons why I really love working at this theater is it is a community theater that operates with professional theater standards.
And that makes a difference.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So, Robert, do you get stage fright still? I mean, given the stage is right in front of the audience, does that make it more nerve-wracking?
Always. I don't think, from personal experience, I don't think stage fright ever truly goes away. You always get the rattles, you always get the nerves. You're going out onto a live stage in front of an audience that's expecting a good show, and you want to put on as best performance you can. But that's part of the whole thing. It's honestly part of the reason I love it, too. It gets the blood pumping.
Do you have season ticket holders, or do you have people that you know come for show after show after show?
40%?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow.
We have season subscribers from great radius.
Let's take a break. When we come back, let's talk a little bit about this production, and I want to know about some of the upcoming performances that you're going to be offering throughout the rest of the winter, too. Can we do all that in the next segment?
Absolutely.
Okay, we're going to do all of that when we come back again. We are sitting today at Winchester Little Theater. We are recording to talk about their upcoming production of A Christmas Carol. It opens on November 7th, runs through December 6th. We'll get details about how you can get tickets when we come back in just a couple of minutes.
Okay. I don't think Janet knows I'm recording this. She just stepped away to get another cup of coffee, so here's my chance. Hey everyone, it's Andy from the United Way of the Northern Shenandoah Valley. And yes, Janet, if you're hearing this, surprise. We're still celebrating the Valley Today's 2500th episode and this awesome community fundraiser you came up with. Here's the deal. Between now and the end of the year, it's Janet's goal to raise $2,500 to support the great work of the nonprofits in this community. If you give just $25 or more, you're going to be entered into a chance to be a guest on the show with Janet. If you give $250 or more, we'll make you a commercial just like this one that will air on the Valley Today podcast. So go to givebutter.com/The Valley Today right now before Janet realizes that I've hijacked her airtime. She's walking back in, cup of coffee in hand, gotta go. Remember to donate between now and the end of the year and support the great work of so many nonprofits and celebrate 2,500 episodes of The Valley Today.
Welcome back to the Valley Today. I am your host, Janet Michael. We are sitting today recording our conversation at Winchester Little Theater in downtown Winchester. We're talking about their upcoming production of A Christmas Carol. Opens on November 7th, runs through December 6th. And Sarah, we were talking a little bit during the break about the diversity of not just your actors, but of everyone who is involved here at Winchester Little Theater, and it runs the gamut.
Absolutely. Our Saturday work days are very popular. We rehearse during the week in the evenings, but on the weekends we commit that to our set construction, painting, working on props. It's a great time for people to wander in and say, hey, because we'll stop and give you a tour of the theater, show you the prop loft, and talk about all the different ways that people can get involved here and volunteer, because we are all volunteers.
We were talking during the break, Jonathan mentioned in the first segment about how he had been in drama in high school and then walked away from it for several years. I've always kind of thought, I used to do live radio. Could live theater really be any more complicated? Can I come to an audition? How do you get the actors that show up in the productions?
We always hold open auditions, which means anyone is welcome to come. We put out audition notices for something like a musical. We ask that they bring prepared music to sing 16 bars.
For the record, I would not be coming for a musical. Nobody wants to hear that. Trust me.
But we have such a variety of plays. Comedies, mysteries, dramas, all types of plays. We love the fact that for a lot of our shows, we see new faces constantly. So it doesn't matter if you have history with this theater or even a background in theater. Sometimes people just decide they're going to give it a shot and audition, and
they're perfect.
Yeah.
Robert, you are Scrooge in this production. You were Scrooge in the last production. How do you decide which productions you want to be a part of? Do you identify with a character? Is it the overall show?
Usually it's more of a paring down because I want to be in every production, but
all the people in all the things.
All the people in all the things, yeah. But no, I'll see what I can find, excerpts of the scripts online, see what I know about the show, see if there's any characters that speak to me, and then I'll come out, try out for those characters, although normally Sarah just casts me however she wants. Usually it's not the part that I auditioned for, but it's usually the part that I'm best dress for anyway.
Well, sometimes it's hard to know that when you're inside that bubble. And Sara has the ability as director to look at the broader picture and realize, oh no, this would be perfect for you.
Yeah, it's absolutely. I mean, she obviously knows what she's doing because it's always worked out.
Jonathan, has there ever been a part that you wished you hadn't done?
No.
Oh, that's good.
Honestly, no. Why is everyone laughing?
Do you want me to ask them if there's a part they think you shouldn't have done?
Jonathan's been amazing in every production he's been in at Winchester Little Theater. Absolutely.
Do you have a favorite one?
Oh man, I have a very, very special place in my heart for this show because this was my first one. And again, everybody tries different stuff in high school. So coming from that experience and taking so long not doing theater and then coming here, A, the level of quality was much higher here. And B, just the experience was so good in that first show. I got to meet great people like Sara and Tim and Robert. So that's the one that's probably still closest to my heart. But man, we've done some fun ones. Tim and I were in the complete works of William Shakespeare Bridge together, which was an absolute riot on
Really?
stage.
Shakespeare was a riot.
Yes.
Depending on who you ask.
Depending on who you ask, we had some people who maybe weren't huge fans.
We got to work out that show.
That's 3 people running through all of Shakespeare's plays in
Running a lot.
a lot of literal running. It's a comedy. It was very fun and a lot of improvisation. That was probably the most pure fun role that I've done here.
What made you walk in the front door and say, hey, I want to audition for something?
My daughter made me.
Oh, that's a story.
Say your daughter, who had been part of our kids program here.
Ah.
She saw the audition notice because she'd been in the WLT for Kids that summer with Sara. She said, you really need to audition, Dad. And I was like, oh yeah, okay. I'll think about it. So it was Sunday afternoon, and I was laying on the couch watching football, and she came into the room with a cup of tea and said, here's a cup of tea for your audition, Daddy. And I'm like, oh, great. Now I have to do it. So I walked down to the theater, and I thought, if there's a lot of people in the parking lot, I'm leaving. And there was a lot of people in the parking lot. I said, oh, I'm going to just go inside, and if there's a lot of people inside, I'm going to leave.
Because it could be like Costco. The parking lot is always much busier than it is inside.
Right. So I came inside. There's a lot of people. And immediately somebody grabbed me. They're like, here's an audition sheet. Fill it out. Welcome. Blah, blah, blah. Go sit down. I'm like, wow, I'm in it.
I'm here now.
And I've been here ever since.
How about you, Robert? How did you end up here for the very first time?
My wife, actually. I've always been interested in theater. I did it a lot in high school and in college, but then I took a hiatus for about 10 years. But then she found an advertisement on Facebook, because I never go on there, and she was like, this is the local theater. We had just moved to town. She was like, go check it out. And so I did, and that was for my first show, which was a comedy of tenors. And that was an absolute blast. That was a great time, and I've been here ever since.
Sara, you're directing A Christmas Carol. You've directed other productions, but you also have been on stage as well.
Yeah, it's been a few years. And right now I'm at the point where I'm not sure I could remember my lines.
I was just about to ask you, which do you prefer?
There have been times when it's been a real toss-up. But if it's a show that I'm just enamored with and I read it, I have 3 designations when I read plays. Either it gets a big star, I do it in a heartbeat, or it's okay, somebody else might do it, no problem. Or
that's kind of how I choose guests. It's kind of how people get to come back a second or third time or not. So you and I have that in common.
Yeah. So there have been a few times where it's a toss-up. Do I really want to audition for this role? But I usually opt for directing.
Is it harder? I feel like it would be harder to direct.
Yeah.
Am I being rude by saying, is it like herding cats? I guess it depends on the production.
The kids program it is sometimes.
Oh, yeah, I would not do that.
I cherish that because they are the future of theater, live theater. When I started that program 22 years ago, it was not existent. There are more opportunities for kids today, but I felt it was really important to incorporate, and I had to battle to get it a part of what we do every year now, which is wonderful.
How did you know how to direct? Did you take a class? Did you wing your way through it and figure it out?
I was a theater major in college, so it started there. And when I was back home and starting to have kids, I got involved again in theater and found that I just loved directing.
I feel like I would love directing because you tell people what to do, and I'm really good at that.
Yeah. Once you figure out what it is, how you see the production, and that's the thing, it's all subjective. When I read a play and I see it in my head, and then I sit down to block it, and it's, okay, now how do we stage this, and who goes where when, and on this stage it's always a challenge. And for proscenium actors, it's a challenge. Because when you're on a proscenium stage and 40 feet away from the audience members, you can get away with a lot of stuff that you can't get away with on this stage. You have to be engaged as an actor, and you have to be conscious of the fact that you have audience on three sides. So it's always a challenge, but I love this space. I've done a lot of work on proscenium stages as well. I would pick this in a heartbeat.
At the end of the very first show for a new production, do you, at the end of it, just take a deep breath? Do you like to look back and see how the audience is reacting? Do you come out to the lobby to hear what people are saying?
Usually the directors sit up in what used to be a balcony, but we have a little space near our light booth, so we watch. We can see audience reactions, and yeah, it's very fulfilling. It's gratifying when you see an audience applaud and laugh and do what they're supposed to
and
do.
still be talking about it as they're walking out the
Yes.
door back to their cars.
Yeah.
Tim, how do you decide what productions you're going to do over the course of a season?
That's a great question, Janet. So this is an interesting process at Winchester Low Theater. We have a play reading committee that's consistently reading plays, and we will read it. I don't know, Sarah, how many plays do you think we read a year, right? Yeah. But like
I can't keep
we meet every month. We are always reading plays, and then we are selecting, okay, what might fit, what might not fit, and also do we have directors that we can pair them up with. Sally Anderson, who's been a director here for a long time, just did a director's lab this spring with some new directors, which was cool. And we're trying to get seasoned directors and then also
Bring some new ones along.
Get a new director once in a while too. So it's a little bit of a puzzle. I think we're in the final stages of figuring out 26, 27. But yeah, we put a lot of time and effort and care into picking out the plays. And it's a really cool process because, again, just like everything else, anybody can be on the play reading committee.
And it's not something that you can do today and put on in a month or two. When you're talking about the 26, 27 season, you got to have some lead time. You also, I would imagine, Sarah mentioned the warehouse with all of your props and your sets. You don't want to necessarily pick something that you have to create from scratch either.
But yeah, picking out the shows is like the beginning of a process that's going to probably be at least a year to 18 months, depending on how everything shapes up. But then we go out and the director gets a whole artistic team too. So part of this production too, we've got a scenic designer, a lighting designer, a props master. We've got a lot of people working on the show.
So what productions do you have coming up after A Christmas Carol? Give me the rundown on that, and then we'll get details for A Christmas Carol.
Sure. Coming up after Christmas Carol in January is a classic thriller, Wait Until Dark by Frederick Knott, and that's directed by Joette Ornoff. Then we got a new play, Decision Height, by Meredith Dana Levy, directed by Teresa Apple. That's going to be opening March 13th. And then we close out our season with a comedy directed by our board president, Betsy Arnett, and that is Calendar Girls by Tim Firth.
That's the end of our main season.
Then we have...
It is not the end of our season.
Then we have WLT for Kids productions, which are going to be in June and July. And in June we have The Three Musketeers.
Mm-hmm.
July we have
James and the Giant
Peach.
A musical. We do a straight play and a musical in the summer. Full productions for the kids.
And how do parents get their kids signed up for that? Is it available on your website?
Yes.
Do they just follow you on social and know when that's open?
Yeah. So
we cast kids between the ages of 12 and 18. We have auditions usually in April, and our website after the first of the year we have a calendar so parents can see what commitment it is. And kids can audition. A lot of them audition for both shows. They can be in one or the other. They're back to back. One is the month of June, the other is the month of July.
I had Nathan Stalvey on the show earlier in the week talking about his Heritage Day that he has at the Clark County Historical Association. And he, that day that we recorded, had, I don't even know how many fourth graders come through the Burwell Morgan Mill to learn about the mill. And I joked with him about raising his own crop of future historians. Yeah. You're very much doing the same thing with the kids' theater.
Yes. The cast size is usually about 20 for each show, so we have 40 kids any given summer in our program. And then on the final dress rehearsal for each show, Clark County Parks and Rec brings busloads of kids, which gives them an opportunity to see live theaters.
I think that's fantastic. So, Tim, how do I get tickets for A Christmas Carol if they're not sold out already?
So you're going to visit winchesterlittletheater.org. That's one place you can look for ticket information, also for audition information for upcoming plays, and also for volunteer opportunities at the theater. I also encourage everybody out there to follow us on Facebook at Winchester Little Theater on Facebook, and also Winchester Little Theater on Instagram. And you can find all that information on the websites too. There's a lot of content that's getting posted now to both of those sites. And for most Christmas Carol content that's posted, there's also a link directly to take you to the tickets for the show. Again, those are also great places to look for information for auditions as well. So everything's posted on all of those spots. And then finally, we do have a constant contact email that gets sent out too called Whisper, so you can sign up for that if you prefer to get emailed this information.
On your website, do you have places where people can learn about becoming a volunteer or making a donation? You are a 501c3, you are a nonprofit, so donations, I assume, are very important to you as well.
Yeah, absolutely. Our webmaster, Pat Markland's put together a beautiful website where all that information is centralized right there. It's easy, they're buttons, so you just follow the buttons, you can sign up.
Fantastic. Robert, Jonathan, is it appropriate to say break a leg? Isn't that what you're supposed to say? Or is that wrong?
Works for me.
Now, we're going to wrap up the show. Do you guys have 10 minutes to maybe do a quick Scrooge, Bob Cratchit conversation for the podcast?
Sure.
So we are going to call it a day for the radio show, but head over to thevalleytodaypodcast.com and you'll get to hear that. Tim, thank you for inviting me here. I've truly enjoyed this conversation. This has been fun.
Oh, awesome. I'm so glad that you came today.
And Sarah, I cannot wait to see this production. This is going to be fantastic.
Thank you. We'll look forward to seeing you here.
I will be back tomorrow with a brand new episode of The Valley Today a few minutes after noon, so meet me here then. So we're still sitting here at Winchester Little Theater, and I wanted to have a conversation with Scrooge and Bob Cratchit. So it's now January. The holidays are behind us. Are you, Mr. Scrooge, friends with Bob Cratchit now? Tell me what's happened in your life since your visit from the ghosts.
I certainly like to think that we're friends now. Recently, of course, I'm becoming more involved in his family, and I'm trying to help him out there. Gave him a raise at his job, obviously, since he was slightly lacking beforehand. But we won't talk about that. But I think we're friends. What do you think, Bob?
I'm waiting for the other shoe to drop, honestly. He comes to me and says, I'm giving you a raise. I'm going to take care of your family. I don't know what to think about that. He's been not the nicest guy for the last couple of years, and I think it's a trick.
I'm a changed man, Bob. I'm telling you.
You have him over for dinner more often?
Oh, he's coming by quite often. He brings a giant goose every night.
To be fair, I'd prefer us meet in my house, not yours, slightly larger, cleaner.
He doesn't like the way we keep ours. The dirt floor gets him. He doesn't like that.
But you have properties. You can't set him up in a much nicer place that's warmer for his family?
We're definitely working on that plot. It's just in the works, hasn't come completely to fruition yet.
Have you seen interest rates lately? Out of this world.
Unfortunately, all of my property is somewhat in, shall we say, disrepair at this moment. Haven't been kept the best upkeep on it, like I said, in the works.
Do you ever worry that the ghost will come back?
Yes, every night. It was slightly a traumatic event for me, and I'm very grateful for what they did. I think that they could have been a little less frightening, perhaps a bit gentler with the whole experience, but had no ghosts have happened since. I've had a couple priests come by, spring some holy water around the place, just in case, but...
Tiny Tim, how do you feel about going to Mr. Scrooge's house for a sleepover?
Oh, I love it. I'm feeling so much better. It's quite a Christmas miracle, it is.
He's grown quite a bit too. Really proud of
I love
toy.
Mr. Scrooge. He's my hero.
Be careful with that, son.
But he saved Christmas, Dad. He saved our Christmas, the Cratchit Christmas.
Oh, he's been hearing voices, son. You know what that means?
Not voices, Bob. I've been hearing ghosts. It's very different.
Been seeing them too.
So he told you the story. Did you think he had lost his mind?
Stop talking about it. He tells everyone, people on the street, strangers, anybody who asks.
It was a life-changing experience. I need to share it with the world. Thinking of having a biography written, actually.
Of course you are, sir.
Will Timmy get to write the foreword?
I'm not entirely sure Timmy knows how to write.
You have to learn to write fast.
All right. I barely can walk, but I'm getting better. Thanks to Mr. Scrooge.
Okay, I can't do this anymore. That was fantastic. Considering you guys had no idea 20 minutes ago that I was going to ask you to do any of this. So thank you. The accents really, I joked with you before when you started, it didn't even click in my head that you have to have accents. That's got to make it tougher.
Yeah. Luckily, like I said, we have a great accent coach, Sally Anderson, and she makes it easy.
Now, you mentioned earlier that it was your daughter that Con asked you to
Con.
come and audition for the first time. Do you walk around the house talking in your Bob Cratchit accent? Does it annoy her?
I do personally, because then it just sounds less forced. If you don't practice it and don't practice, especially one thing that I found is if you get in trouble on stage, you forget a line or mess something up, you've got to flub your way back to where you're supposed to be.
Accent goes right out the head.
So the more comfortable you are speaking in that voice, the easier it's going to be for you to get out of that and get back to where you should be.
Do you ever go through the drive-thru at McDonald's or Burger King and use your Scrooge voice as you're practicing?
No, I have not
I would
done that.
totally do that.
Oh, no. Baja Blast.
Yeah, I'm not so sure Tiny Tim should be using his voice outside of where we were just sitting.
I'm
That
not
was-
really playing Tiny Tim. The real actors playing Tiny Tim are much better than me.
And that's a child, a kid?
All the kids are doubled.
Yep,
Yeah.
all the kids have been double cast, so just for the strenuous of the rehearsal and the
And that makes
performance
sense.
schedule.
I think this cast totals 26, which is
Wow.
huge.
In the stage, we talked in the first couple of segments on the radio about the fact that it is a small theater. The stage is not massive. What is it like backstage? I've not seen backstage. Do you have
Even
a lot
smaller.
of room for
Very
27
small.
people?
It's even smaller.
I can't imagine 27 people moving around back there.
At least what happened last time for this show, because of the amount, backstage gets extended to the back deck.
Ah.
And you spend a lot of time back there when you're not on stage because there's just not room back. Because you got to remember, all the furniture and everything for all the scenes is also in that little space. There's not a lot of room.
What's cool about doing this production 3 years later, too, is I was talking to John before we started, and like the set, you probably couldn't tell out in the audience, but the set is slightly altered too to create more space for coming and going and entrances and exits, getting pieces in and out and whatnot too. So we definitely learned from last time to streamline it a little bit more.
Yeah, because you don't have the luxury of a rotating stage that somebody else can get the next set ready and then it just turns and there it is magically.
And this is a true story. I'm chairing the build for this set, and almost the entire set was driven. The way it's laid out is all driven by a table.
The table that was delivered when we first got here?
No, a different table. It's a table that makes several appearances in the show, but it has to be able to come on stage. And so that drove where things were placed, because that table, if that table can't come out, we don't have Scrooge's desk, we don't have the Cratchit family dinner table, and then we can't get it back off stage. So it's funny how
It's
little
so much
stuff like that
logistics.
drives
And I would assume that's your goal. Your goal as you're on stage and anyone that's working in production is for me sitting in the audience to have no idea how complicated and difficult it
It
is
should look like
for
the
you to do what
easiest
you
thing
do.
in the world, but you're not seeing everything that goes on behind. All the work that went into it.
That's the magic.
Yes, I think one of you should have to wear a GoPro.
What's kind of cool for the actors is we've got the system where if you can look out in the lobby and then also in backstage, we've got video going on so that you don't miss your cue, really. And you can
That was
kinda
gonna, when
see-
you said outside,
Yeah.
I'm like, yeah, but then how do you know when
Yeah.
you got to get back on stage?
Yeah, there's a monitor in the back and a monitor right there that show the one in the back nobody sees except the actors. But this one shows photographs of old performances and stuff when the audience is coming in. As soon as they're seated, it flips to what's going on stage, because this is also becomes a backstage area. So you stand here and watch and wait until you hit your cue to come on.
How hard is it when somebody on stage with you has that flub that Jonathan was talking about earlier? Do you have to fight the urge to jump in and save them? How do you know when to wait and see if they can recover? Because a lot of that is live and in the moment.
Yeah, it depends on the mistake, because mistakes happen, and sometimes you know the actor that you're working with, you know they're going to be able to recover somehow. You just have to wait it out. Sometimes if like they forget a line and they're just like staring off into the middle distance, you give them a little prompt in character of just, you can reword their line so it's now that yours, just trying to help them out a little bit. But yeah, every show is different. They all have their little mistakes, their little errors, and that's just the beauty of live theater.
It really is a lot like live radio. I've always joked that even though I'm recording them now in advance, and I do so many of them over Zoom, that I want still people to use their video. I don't want them to turn their video off. I don't use the video, but I need to see their face. If I ask them a question, then I can see if they're struggling to answer, so that I can either jump in or I can rephrase the question, or I could do something to get them over that hump. You're doing it, but you're doing it right there in the moment. There is no edit button for you after the fact.
As you work with people more often, there comes a point where you're communicating a lot in books. I've had the great fortune to be on stage with Tim for 5 shows?
Yeah.
6 shows? And
We can just give each other.
there are books that go back and forth between the two of us. Some that is communicating character stuff, but there's other ones that's like, uh-oh.
This is a problem.
It's a lot like sports that way too. It's like playing basketball or football or anything like that. Once you rehearse enough with the cast and you get to trust your castmates, like you trust them. If something goes wrong, somebody else is going to pick up the ball and it's going to be fine. And like we could flub 10 things in a show and you would not know at all, because of how closely we have to work and how much we have to trust each other in this space.
Outside of rehearsals, do you guys like get together in one of your living rooms and run lines or do that sort of stuff, or do you manage to get all of that done during a rehearsal?
Honestly, there's enough rehearsals to we don't need to.
And it depends on the show, too.
Yeah, it depends on we're like, especially with something this big, with such a big cast, we're here 5 nights a week for 3 straight weeks. There's no need for extracurricular. but there's, especially once the performances start, we'll go out for drinks. After the show's over, we'll go out to eat or something like that.
And you're not allowed to do that still in your costumes, because that would be cool as all get out if I'm sitting somewhere and you guys come walking in.
No,
There's a hard and fast no eating in your costume rule.
I can imagine.
You really want us to go prank
we would be in
McDonald's, don't you?
Yes.
very big trouble.
I'm thinking of Friday night dinner over at Bonnie Blue, and you guys just
Oh,
all
yeah.
come wandering in while he's still there across the street. He's not going to be there much longer.
I have gone in my makeup, though. It's just full white hair and beard and wrinkles and everything.
Do you typically come out after the show and talk to people in the lobby or interact with the audience at all?
Absolutely, yeah.
That's got to be a cool part.
Yeah, anybody who hangs out after the show, it's everybody goes back and gets changed, and then this is the exit. So
There's only one way in, one way out.
Yeah.
What's cool about doing community theater too is like when you see people out in like the grocery store or something and they're like, oh, there's Scrooge, there's Cratchit, hey! It's like such an unexpected like complimentary experience to like just run into somebody that saw you in a show and I loved you in that show. That's not everything that makes it all worthwhile, but it's just really cool being part of the Winchester community, putting on a show in Winchester and living in Winchester. It's very special when that kind of thing happens.
I used to work with a guy who was the king for the Renaissance Fair, and he was the king for years, and I did not know this. And so we had met up for coffee for some meet. I forget what we were meeting up for. And the number of people that would come by and they would stop and they would bow. And I'm like, what is happening right now? And so then, and I didn't even know he was the king for the Renaissance Fair. And so then he tells me this and I'm like, oh, okay. And I get that. People are like, oh, you're the lady in orange from the radio. And I'm like, maybe. That depends. Do you like the show? Then yes, I am. Do people ask you to sign their program and things like that?
No,
Because I would
I've
be
never
that
been
weirdo.
asked. I don't know.
Not usually, no.
Selfies.
When they do the kids program, it's fun because all the kids line up and they do like a receiving line for the kids shows, and younger kids will come up and get their program signed, and the kids get a kick out of being able to sign their autographs. It's really cool.
Yeah.
Thank you guys for hanging out a little bit afterwards and talking on the podcast. This has been fun.
Yeah.
Now I can tell everybody that I'm close personal friends with both Scrooge and Bob Cratchit. That's a story in and of itself. And Tiny Tim. Okay, don't do that.
Never mind, we're not friends, Tim.